The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Introduction to the book and Stephen Covey's philosophy. When Stephen R. Covey released The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People in 1989, he didn't just write another self-help book. He introduced a framework for living that blended timeless wisdom with practical strategies. Unlike quick-fix guides that promise instant success, Covey's work focuses on building a strong character foundation, a way of thinking and behaving that leads to effectiveness in all areas of life. And that's why, even decades later, it's still one of the most influential personal development books in the world. Covey starts by addressing a crucial shift in how people approach success. He noticed that in the past, most teachings on achievement were based on character ethics, principles like integrity, humility, courage, and fairness. But in the 20th century, much of the advice shifted to what he called personality ethics. Things like quick techniques, image building, and social tricks to get ahead. Covey's mission was to bring people back to principles that stand the test of time. The book is built on one simple but powerful idea. Our effectiveness comes from aligning our actions with universal principles and making daily choices that reflect them. Instead of reacting to life, Covey encourages us to take control, clarify our vision, prioritize what matters, build meaningful relationships, and keep growing. That's what the 7 habits are about. They're not just behaviors but mindsets, habits that reshape how we see the world and how we interact with it. Covey also introduces 2 important concepts early on: the maturity continuum and the paradigm shift. The maturity continuum explains that people move through 3 stages in life. Dependence, relying on others to take care of us or make decisions for us. Independence, taking responsibility and standing on our own 2 feet. Interdependence, realizing that true effectiveness comes when independent people work together in a cooperative, win-win way. The 7 habits are designed to move us along this path. The first 3 habits help us achieve independence by focusing on self-mastery. The next 3 habits help us practice interdependence by strengthening relationships and collaboration. And the 7th habit helps us renew ourselves so we can keep growing without burning out. Covey also talks about the idea of paradigms, the mental maps through which we see the world. Just like a map of New York won't help you in Los Angeles, faulty mental maps of life can keep us stuck. To change our effectiveness, we often need a paradigm shift, a new way of seeing problems and possibilities. The 7 habits are tools to help us make these shifts. So, this isn't just a book about success. It's about effectiveness in the deepest sense, living with purpose, balancing personal growth with relationships, and achieving sustainable results. By the time you finish this book, you realize it's not about doing more, but about doing what truly matters, and doing it in a way that lasts. This sets the stage for Habit 1, which is all about reclaiming your power to choose. But before we dive into that, keep this in mind: the habits aren't quick fixes, they're lifelong practices. Section 2, Habit 1: Be proactive. The very first habit Stephen Covey introduces is the foundation of everything else: be proactive. At its core, this habit is about taking responsibility for your own life. It means understanding that no matter what happens to you, the real power lies in how you respond. Most people live in a reactive mode. They let circumstances, other people, or even their moods control them. For example, someone might say, "I'm in a bad mood because of the weather," or, "I can't succeed because of my boss." In Covey's eyes, this kind of thinking gives away your power. Instead of being driven by values, reactive people are driven by feelings and conditions they can't control. Proactive people, on the other hand, recognize a fundamental truth: between what happens to us and how we respond, there is a space, and in that space lies our freedom to choose. We don't always control events, but we can control our attitudes, words, and actions. Covey explains this idea through the concept of the circle of concern and the circle of influence. The circle of concern includes everything we care about: politics, the economy, the weather, other people's opinions. The circle of influence, on the other hand, includes things we can directly do something about: our own behavior, our habits, our choices, our skills. Reactive people spend most of their energy worrying about their circle of concern, which leads to frustration and helplessness. Proactive people focus on their circle of influence, which gradually expands as they take consistent action. One powerful example Covey gives is Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived Nazi concentration camps. Despite unimaginable suffering, Frankl realized that while the guards controlled his body, they could never control his inner freedom, the ability to choose his attitude and find meaning in the midst of pain. This realization turned into the foundation of his life's work. Being proactive doesn't mean being aggressive or controlling others. It means living according to principles instead of moods, and acting with intention rather than reacting automatically. For instance, if a coworker snaps at you, instead of snapping back, you can pause, choose patience, and respond calmly. That one choice can transform relationships. Covey also emphasizes the power of language. Reactive people use words like, "I can't, I have to," or "they made me." Proactive people use words like, "I choose, I prefer," or "I will." Language shapes mindset, and mindset shapes outcomes. In practical terms, being proactive means looking inward first. Instead of waiting for the world to change, you start with yourself, your habits, your values, your decisions. Covey encourages readers to ask themselves, am I acting based on my deepest values, or am I just reacting to circumstances? By mastering Habit 1, you shift from being a victim of your environment to being the creator of your life. It's about recognizing that real power comes from your response, not from what happens to you. And once you embrace this mindset, the rest of the habits build naturally on top of it. This is why Covey places, be proactive, first. It's the key that unlocks personal effectiveness. Without it, the other habits won't stick. With it, you begin to design your life instead of drifting through it. Section 3, Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. If Habit 1 is about taking control of your choices, Habit 2 is about knowing where those choices are leading you. Stephen Covey calls this habit begin with the end in mind, and it's all about having a clear vision of your destination before you start the journey. Covey opens with a powerful mental exercise. Imagine you're attending your own funeral. 3 people are about to speak, 1 from your family, 1 from your work, and 1 from your community. What do you want them to say about you? Do you want them to describe you as loving, fair, hardworking, a person of integrity? Or would their words reflect something less inspiring? This exercise shocks many readers into realizing that they often live day to day without really thinking about the bigger picture. The truth is, all of us are constantly creating. There are 2 creations in everything, the mental creation and the physical creation. For example, before a house is built, it first exists as a blueprint. If you don't create your blueprint consciously, you risk building your life based on someone else's design, society's expectations, peer pressure, or habits you never questioned. So how do you begin with the end in mind? By defining your personal mission statement. A mission statement is like a personal constitution, a clear statement of your values, goals, and guiding principles. It gives you a reference point for decision-making. Instead of asking, "What do I feel like doing?" you ask, "Does this align with my mission?" Covey stresses that real success is not climbing the ladder faster, but making sure your ladder is leaning against the right wall. Too many people chase money, status, or approval, only to realize later they sacrificed what mattered most: relationships, health, integrity. Beginning with the end in mind protects you from that trap. This habit also pushes you to think about the difference between leadership and management. Management is about efficiency, doing things right. Leadership is about effectiveness, doing the right things. Without vision, you might manage your time and tasks well, but still end up in the wrong place. Habit 2 is about being a leader in your own life, setting the direction before managing the details. A practical step Covey suggests is identifying your key roles, like parent, professional, friend, community member, and writing goals for each role. This way, your life stays balanced. You're not just succeeding at work but failing at home, or excelling socially but neglecting your health. At its heart, Habit 2 reminds us that if we don't decide who we want to be, the world will decide for us. And that's rarely a recipe for fulfillment. By clarifying your vision and values now, you create a compass that will guide your choices for decades. So, if Habit 1 is about recognizing that you are the driver of your life, Habit 2 is about deciding exactly where you want to drive. It's not just about setting goals, it's about designing a life that, when you reach the end, you'll look back on with pride and peace. Section 4, Habit 3, Put first things first. If Habit 2 is about deciding what truly matters in your life, then Habit 3 is about living it out day by day. Stephen Covey calls this habit put first things first, and it's all about time management, priorities, and discipline. It's not enough to know your mission or values, you need to act on them consistently. Covey explains that most people confuse what is urgent with what is important. Urgent things scream for attention: emails, phone calls, deadlines, crises. Important things, on the other hand, are aligned with your deepest values: spending time with family, investing in your health, building long-term skills, nurturing relationships, and personal growth. The problem is that urgent things often crowd out important ones, leaving us busy but not truly effective. To illustrate this, Covey introduces his famous time management matrix, dividing activities into 4 quadrants. Quadrant I: urgent and important, crises, pressing problems, deadlines. Quadrant 2: not urgent but important, planning, exercise, building relationships, personal growth. Quadrant 3: urgent but not important, interruptions, some meetings, many emails or calls. Quadrant 4: not urgent and not important, distractions, trivial activities, excessive scrolling or entertainment. Highly effective people, Covey says, focus most of their energy on Quadrant 2. This is where the real magic happens, working on things that build your future before they become crises. For example, exercising regularly prevents health problems, planning ahead avoids constant emergencies, and nurturing relationships prevents conflict. But here's the challenge: Quadrant 2 activities don't shout for attention. No one will remind you to spend quality time with your kids, practice gratitude, or learn a new skill. You have to make the conscious choice to put them first. That's why Covey insists that Habit 3 is the ultimate test of self-management. Can you prioritize the important over the urgent? Another key element of this habit is learning to say no. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you're saying no to something meaningful. Proactive people, from Habit 1, and vision-driven people, from Habit 2, develop the courage to protect their time, even if it means disappointing others. Covey also stresses the idea of integrity in the moment of choice. Anyone can write down priorities, but when the phone rings during family dinner or when a tempting distraction appears, integrity is what helps you stick to what matters. Ultimately, Habit 3 shifts your life from being controlled by other people's agendas to being guided by your own mission. It's about aligning daily actions with long-term goals. And once you master this habit, you move from independence into the next phase of growth, building strong, cooperative relationships. In short, Habit 3 teaches us this: don't let the urgent run your life. Let the important define it. Section 5, Habit 4, Think Win-Win. If Habit 3 is about managing yourself, Habit 4 is about how you interact with others. Stephen Covey calls this habit Think Win-Win, and it's all about seeking mutual benefit in every human interaction. It challenges the common belief that life is a competition where one person's gain automatically means another person's loss. Instead, Covey argues that true effectiveness comes from cooperation, fairness, and a belief in abundance. At the heart of this habit is a shift in mindset. Many people operate with what Covey calls a scarcity mentality. They see the world as a limited pie. If someone else gets a bigger slice, then theirs must be smaller. This mindset breeds competition, jealousy, and fear of others' success. By contrast, a win-win thinker operates with an abundance mentality. They believe there is enough success, recognition, and opportunity for everyone. With this perspective, another person's achievement does not diminish you. It can even inspire or create more opportunities for all involved. Covey describes different paradigms of interaction. Win-lose. I get what I want, and you don't. This is the mindset of competition and dominance, which might work in short-term battles but destroys trust and relationships. Lose-win. You get what you want, and I don't. People with this mindset give in too easily, often out of fear or a desire to avoid conflict. Over time, it leads to resentment and low self-worth. Lose-lose. If I can't win, neither can you. This destructive pattern shows up when anger or revenge drives decisions, ensuring both sides suffer. Win-win. Let's find a way for both of us to succeed. This mindset requires creativity, courage, and respect. It doesn't mean compromise or giving in. It means looking for solutions where everyone feels valued. But Covey makes it clear, win-win is not a quick technique. It's a total philosophy of human interaction. It requires what he calls the balance of courage and consideration. Courage means standing up for your own needs and values. Consideration means respecting the needs and values of others. If you only have courage without consideration, you push too hard and fall into win-lose. If you only have consideration without courage, you give in too easily and end up lose-win. True win-win lives in the balance. In practical terms, think win-win shows up in negotiations, leadership, and family life. A business leader practicing this habit seeks deals that benefit both the company and its employees. Parents practicing it try to resolve conflicts with children in ways that respect both authority and individuality. Even in friendships, win-win thinking fosters trust because people know you won't exploit or abandon them. The power of this habit lies in the long-term relationships it builds. While win-lose may deliver fast victories, it leaves behind bitterness and distrust. Win-win, on the other hand, creates loyalty, cooperation, and shared growth. It's about building partnerships instead of rivalries. Ultimately, Habit 4 challenges us to elevate our interactions from competition to collaboration. When you think win-win, you're not just solving problems, you're creating a culture of trust and mutual respect. And that's what makes this habit a cornerstone of highly effective living. Section 6, Habit 5, Seek first to understand, then to be understood. If Habit 4 is about building relationships based on mutual benefit, then Habit 5 is about building relationships based on mutual understanding. Stephen Covey calls this habit seek first to understand, then to be understood, and he considers it one of the most powerful principles of communication. Most people approach conversations with the opposite habit. They listen with the intent to reply rather than to understand. As Covey explains, we often filter everything through our own experiences, opinions, and emotions. Instead of truly hearing the other person, we're preparing our response, waiting for our turn to speak, or mentally judging their words. This creates a gap where miscommunication and conflict grow. Covey insists that real communication begins with empathic listening. This is not just listening to words, but to feelings, intentions, and perspectives. Empathic listening requires setting aside your own agenda and fully stepping into the other person's frame of reference. It's about understanding not only what they are saying but why they are saying it. He contrasts empathic listening with what most of us do: ignoring, not listening at all; pretending, nodding or giving signals without true attention; selective listening, only hearing parts that interest you; attentive listening, paying attention but still from your own perspective; empathic listening, fully focusing with the intent to understand the speaker's meaning and feelings. When you practice empathic listening, something powerful happens. People feel valued, respected, and safe. This trust opens the door for influence. Only after the other person feels understood will they be open to hearing your perspective. That's why Covey stresses the sequence: first understand them, then express yourself. This habit is not about manipulation. It's not about listening just long enough to get your chance to argue. Instead, it's about creating a foundation of trust where both sides are willing to collaborate. In business negotiations, empathic listening uncovers real needs behind demands. In families, it helps resolve conflicts by acknowledging emotions before offering solutions. In friendships, it deepens bonds by showing genuine care. Covey also highlights that seeking first to understand doesn't mean you agree with everything. You can understand deeply without surrendering your viewpoint. But by acknowledging someone's perspective, you create space for them to reciprocate and hear yours. It transforms the conversation from a battle of positions into a search for shared meaning. Ultimately, Habit 5 reminds us that influence begins with understanding. When people feel heard, they're more likely to listen. When people feel respected, they're more open to change. And when conversations start with empathy, they end with cooperation. Section 7, Habit 6, Synergize. If Habit 5 is about listening and understanding others, then Habit 6 is about taking that understanding to the next level, creating something greater together. Stephen Covey calls this habit synergize, and it's all about teamwork, collaboration, and valuing differences. Simply put, synergy is when the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Covey points out that in most interactions, people operate in one of three ways. My way, insisting on your own viewpoint. Your way, giving in to the other person without asserting your own. Compromise, both sides giving up something to meet in the middle. While compromise has its place, true synergy goes beyond it. Instead of each person losing something, synergy seeks a creative third alternative that neither could have discovered alone. This is not about winning or losing, it's about expanding the possibilities. Synergy requires two key elements: trust and valuing differences. Trust creates an environment where people feel safe to share ideas, even unconventional ones. Valuing differences means appreciating perspectives, skills, and experiences that are not your own. Covey stresses that differences are not problems to overcome, they are opportunities to innovate. He illustrates this with real-world examples. In teams, people with diverse skills brainstorm solutions that no individual could have achieved alone. In families, blending different personalities and talents creates harmony and stronger bonds. In businesses, synergy leads to breakthroughs and solutions that multiply success rather than divide it. But achieving synergy is not automatic. Covey emphasizes three critical practices: open communication, sharing ideas honestly and listening without judgment; creative problem solving, thinking beyond conventional solutions to find new approaches; building on strengths, focusing on what each person does best, rather than trying to fix weaknesses. Synergy is the culmination of all previous habits: being proactive, Habit 1, knowing your purpose; Habit 2, prioritizing important tasks; Habit 3, thinking win-win; Habit 4, and empathic communication; Habit 5. Together, they create an environment where collaboration thrives, trust flourishes, and innovation emerges. Covey reminds us that synergy is not easy. It requires humility, patience, and a willingness to embrace uncertainty. But the rewards are enormous. When synergy becomes part of your life, conflicts transform into opportunities, challenges become stepping stones, and relationships evolve from mere cooperation into dynamic partnerships. Ultimately, Habit 6 teaches a powerful lesson. By valuing differences and combining strengths, we can create results that are exponentially greater than what any individual could achieve alone. Synergy is where true teamwork turns vision into reality. Section 8, Habit 7, Sharpen the Saw. If Habit 6 is about collaboration and synergy, Habit 7 is about renewal, taking care of yourself so you can perform at your best every day. Stephen Covey calls this habit sharpen the saw, inspired by the story of a man sawing wood. If he keeps sawing without ever sharpening his saw, he works harder and harder but accomplishes less. The solution? Stop occasionally to sharpen the saw. Sharpening the saw means preserving and enhancing the four dimensions of your nature. Physical, taking care of your body through exercise, proper nutrition, and rest. Covey emphasizes that a strong body gives you energy, resilience, and longevity. Exercise is not just for fitness, it sharpens your mind and spirit as well. Sleep, proper meals, and avoiding harmful habits ensure that your body remains a high-performing tool. Mental, continuously learning and challenging your mind. This includes reading, writing, problem-solving, and engaging in stimulating discussions. Covey stresses that lifelong learning keeps you adaptable, creative, and ready to handle new challenges. Avoiding mental stagnation is key to personal growth and long-term success. Emotional/social. Developing meaningful relationships and emotional intelligence. This involves empathizing with others, expressing gratitude, and resolving conflicts constructively. Emotional balance strengthens your ability to lead, influence, and build strong connections with people around you. Spiritual. Nurturing your inner values and purpose. This could involve meditation, prayer, reflection, or spending time in nature. Covey explains that connecting with your deeper principles and long-term mission gives you clarity, peace, and motivation. A strong spiritual foundation anchors all other aspects of your life. Habit 7 is unique because it integrates all previous habits. You can only be truly effective if you invest in yourself regularly. Proactivity. Habit 1. Purpose. Habit 2. Prioritization. Habit 3. Win-win thinking. Habit 4. Empathy. Habit 5. And synergy. Habit 6. All depend on your personal energy, health, and focus. Neglecting yourself limits your ability to live these habits fully. Covey also highlights that sharpening the saw is not a one-time act, it's a lifestyle. Small daily improvements, reading for 30 minutes, going for a brisk walk, journaling, connecting with loved ones, compound over time into significant growth. It's a commitment to self-renewal and balance, ensuring that your effectiveness and well-being increase rather than decline. Ultimately, Habit 7 teaches a profound lesson: you cannot pour from an empty cup. By investing in your body, mind, heart, and spirit, you maintain peak performance and sustain the habits that lead to success. Sharpening the saw ensures that you continue growing, achieving, and thriving in every area of your life. And that's a deep dive into Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. From taking control of your life with Habit 1, to sharpening the saw and renewing yourself in Habit 7, these habits aren't just theory, they're practical steps to transform how you think, act, and succeed every single day. Think about it: what if you could prioritize what really matters, communicate better, build stronger relationships, and constantly grow yourself? That's what these habits give you: a blueprint for not just achieving success, but living a meaningful, balanced, and powerful life. Now I want to hear from you. Which habit hit you the most? Which one are you going to start applying today? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one. And here's something exciting: help me choose the next book we dive into. Which book should I cover next? Comment your suggestions. I'll pick the most requested book for the next video. This is your chance to shape the content and get exactly what you want to learn. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know you want more deep dives like this. Share it with a friend who wants to level up in life. And of course, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any future videos where we break down the best books, ideas, and life strategies in a way that's easy to apply. Remember, it's not about knowing the habits, it's about living them. Start small, stay consistent, and watch your life transform. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully covering the book you suggested.